I'm ready whenever you are. Maybe I, oh, sorry, go ahead. It's your, I don't know if the volume's there, but it's just your, I'm ready whenever you are. Oh, I'm covered by a lighthouse, much as I normally am in life. All right. Give it a couple minutes for people to still stream in here. And Ooh. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's Yeah, I have my kit here, but you have your kit in front of you. I think in the Instagram, people didn't get to actually peek down into the kit, which I think would be really cool to see. So let's maybe pop it right on the desk there. And oh, sorry, Erin. They're saying you might be muted. Your sound isn't going through.
Okay, I'm going to try this now. How's that?
There's a little delay, so we'll know in a
Okay,
second.
cool.
If you can hear Aaron, just sound off in the comments here.
Okay,
Um,
let me make sure I'm talking.
which is like I cannot believe what Aaron just told me. It was honestly the most transformative, life-changing advice I've ever gotten. Um, I can't believe she's not going to repeat it, of course,
Of
but
course, I'm
I
going to repeat
feel
it.
transformed as a person from having heard it. So I really wish Aaron wasn't muted in that moment. But um, I will let Erin take it from here.
Okay, are we back to hearing my sweet dulcet tones?
They said there's a delay.
Okay. Um,
Just think of Erin as a ventriloquist.
but to reiterate, I teach landscape sketching and drawing, and a lot of the tools that I picked for this box are based on the ones that I recommended to my students and based on really having an efficient set of tools. I would have students who would want to do a watercolor painting, but it takes a long time to wait for that to dry. And this way you can sketch and have a painterly sketch, but not have to wait for something on location and have your light change. And so that paired with the aquash brush um, has been a really fun combination to work with. Let's see, in addition, my favorite, Pentel makes my favorite mechanical pencils. I should also say I've been using like the Pentel brush pens in all their various forms. Like since I was in college, I feel like it was kind of like the first viral art supply was were these brushes and the brush. Oh, I'm blanking on what it's called. Chris, what's
Color
this
brush.
one?
Oh, that's a Graph Gear. I believe that's a Graph Gear 300 or 500. 500, right?
No, the Pentel
Oh, I'm looking
brush
at your
pen.
delay. I can't see
Yeah.
your desk. Those are the color brushes. The color brushes, I know for me, was the most
Yeah.
game-changing art material I've ever found in my life.
Yeah, it's funny, like, people are always like, "Oh, art supplies don't matter." I'm like, "Yeah, except when they really do."
No, they do. They
Yeah.
do.
Um,
Those are people who
and
are using other brands. We'll say that.
and then kind of new to me this year, or in the past few years, have been the Milky brushes. And so I've been using these a lot on my landscape sketches. And I'll probably start off with a demo of these just because I think these are probably new to several people. And then for detail work, we have a nice point liner and click eraser. I I always love when students discover that mechanical erasers are a thing. Because they're like, wait a minute, it's just an eraser? Like, yeah.
I
Um,
still lick my thumb and rub it on the paper. That's where I'm at with erasing. Old school.
just like building up a nice patina on your page of coffee and
They'll be able to clone me in the future for my art.
yeah. Okay, so let's see. You guys are seeing Lighthouse and tools I'm using. So right now, let's see. I think right now I'll use the Milky brush and the watercolor pencils, but I'm gonna sketch. You know what? I'm gonna sketch in watercolor pencil to kind of show you guys. So this would have been, let's take a look. It looks like I sketched this in mechanical pencil and then did the kind of like big shapes using one of these guys, the color brush. Same thing here. I think this would have been the gray color brush. And then on this toned paper, I really like how the blue Milky brush and the white Milky brush kind of give you this. They're just playing around. Um, Kind of give you this like sky effect. So let's see. This would have been the red watercolor pencil, and then all Milky brush throughout here. So I took this sketchbook with me when I went on a trip up to New England. So we were taking a ferry over to Provincetown, and my husband fell asleep, so I drew him. Um, I drew all the kids on the ferry. So I like to kind of take a very like journalist kind of point of view too. Sometimes I think is fun. But so here, let's find a.
So are you using the Milky brushes more to carve out like the negative space in the background
Yes, yeah,
and then letting the
exactly.
tone paper act as the mid-tone and the kind of your base? for your drawing?
Yes, yeah, and
That's really
actually,
cool.
thank you. Yeah, I have kind of one of the examples is this guy. So, and I believe this was from Damascata, or Damascata, as my mom's family would say. And so this would have been sketched in pencil. I think probably some watercolor pencil too. And then you can see I kind of blocked out, like you said, I carved around it. And so what that does is that it lets the tone of the paper, the value of the paper, be all my midtones. And that's fun because then you get to like quote unquote paint the light. You get to paint the light as well as the shadows. And so this is a really good exercise. And I find that again, with travel sketching, you don't have much time often. So not having to fight the white of the page, you still end up with a piece that ends up feeling fairly finished. So let's see.
See, a lot of times too, when you're just kind of teaching basic drawing, people don't think of white as a color. They just think of it as a surface you build up from. But starting from the midtone, you're kind of very explicitly showing white and black is both opposite ends on this value scale, and you work negatively and positively in that regard.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And if you are newer to drawing, tuning in here, value is simply how light or how dark something is. And so, like Chris said, when you use toned paper, it's forcing you to, exactly like he said, think of white as a color. Um,
We have a question here. It says, "Do we
yeah,
work at Pentel?" We actually don't. We're not Pentel employees. We are. Erin is a very popular working illustrator. I'm a working illustrator myself, and we're just very lucky to collaborate with Pentel. Pentel works with a lot of artists, and they're very artist centric, which is actually surprisingly rare in the art supply world. So we are two of dozens of artists that work with Pentel pretty regularly. Um,
yeah. Like I said, I've been using Pentel products just like as a fan for years and years, and when they started curating these kits and invited us to curate a set of products, it was like a dream gig. Like I was saying, or Chris was saying, it was kind of like being on a Wheaties box or something. Like, um, so they're just really cool.
yeah.
So, and like I love talking about art supplies. I like experimenting with art supplies. So it's been really fun just kind of like thinking of a set that works well together. Um,
Uh,
so
oh, we have
just
a
for,
comment about the Graph Gear 1000 as well. I always call that the Cadillac of mechanical pencils. I do think it is the best, and the weight is the really nice part. What do you use for a pencil, Erin? What's your
so
go-to?
I like the one that's in I like the one that's in the kit, but are you talking about this guy? 500? Or do you have an
There
even
is a 300,
okay.
500, formerly an 800, and 1,000. There's also a Sharp Orenz, Click Erase. I'm a mechanical pencil connoisseur, so
So this is the 500 and it's zero point 0.9 lead. I love this one. And you're right, like the weight is really nice. I used to just use like whatever cheap mechanical pencil was at the bottom of my backpack or whatever. And then when I switched to these, it was like, oh my God, I'm a real grown-up artist.
the
Um,
point nine gives a little more. It lets you give a little more broad expressive strokes than like I like a point. I like the Orenz point two because it's like microscopically thin, but. For the way you're working, do you like a little more coverage and expression in your line?
Yeah, like that's a good point. I'm not very surgical, as you can tell. I'm very I like to kind of stay loose. Um, so having a thicker lead, I actually like because it keeps the mechanical pencil from feeling too like I said, surgical. Um, that you can get a bit of like line thickness, but then also have kind of the what's it called? Uh, the convenience of not having to sharpen a pencil. Um, so this lighthouse is in, oh, I'm blanking. It's in North Carolina, kind of like toward, oh, it's called Nag's Head.
We
I
can't
just think
use
that,
that term anymore.
I just
Lighthouse
think
has
that,
been canceled.
um, the other eraser that I really like to show to my students is this guy. Yep, upside down. There we go. This click guy. So it's like you can see it's more like a chisel. Um I guess for a second I'll talk about reference. So I love to draw on location like whenever I can. But I also, when you travel, your travel uh partners don't always want to sit and watch you draw. Um so I take a lot of photo reference and I try to kind of combine the two, like draw from life when I can. Also, if you're counting these stripes and realizing that I got it wrong, you're right. Uh, and that's okay. Um, but I like to take a lot of photo reference and draw from it later too, which is kind of the best of both worlds. And I'll show you real quick some of my other reference. So, oop,
I think a lot of people, when they're getting into drawing too, they think using reference is cheating. And I felt that way when I was in school, but reference is so important. It's not cheating at all. I think in general, I used to always tell my students there's four ways to draw with images. There's from real life, from reference, from memory, and from imagination. And making art is putting all of those to work at the same time. But if you're not looking at reference, you're still pulling from your mental reference. You might as well be a little closer to the source. Um, are those
yeah,
your own photos?
they are. Yeah, and so these are in France, but these are just North Carolina where I am currently living. So I'll turn off some of these. But I do need my actual reference back. Um,
Wait, those are North Carolina?
yeah.
Those look like the
Um,
set of Jungle Cruise.
but it's just kind of I like to encourage people to sorry, there we go. I like to encourage people to like look. Oh, so this is Iceland, um, and so like obviously um, this was shot. I was in the car as a passenger, um, and so you can see like there's reflections from the window. It's a little blurry here. But I think like even here's another one. This was you'll see
Wow.
like well it's beautiful, but this was just shot from a moving car like while we were driving around. And so I'm kind of always on the lookout for pretty moments. Um
On that
and
note, Erin, if I can interrupt you very
yeah, please.
briefly, what are the most inspiring places you've been in the world? What are the places you've been that just make you want to draw and shoot all the reference?
So Iceland, I did a an artist residency there about 10 years ago now. And I loved it so much that we organized kind of a group of friends to go and draw just more. That was where I think I kind of fell in love with landscape painting. Um, and that was the first time I kind of like started paying attention to like even the small moments. Um, just like the mountains there, the light there is just kind of unreal. Um, and it kind of showed me like the types of things I like to draw too. I like drawing mountains and I like drawing interesting buildings too. So I haven't traveled as much as I would like to, but I've been to France twice, and I actually did a book that took place in Paris. So in a sense, landscape painting does kind of feed back into my illustration work, and it's given me a lot of confidence to draw the backgrounds of my pieces, like from either reference I've shot or with the lessons that I have taken from the real world. How about you?
Besides Charlotte, North Carolina, uh, no, I don't know. I just came back from Alaska a couple days ago, which Anchorage itself was a vibe, but it was the first time I'd seen a glacier in person, and it was bigger than I thought it would be, and they said it was much smaller than it used to be. So it was pretty cool seeing glacier. Um, yeah, I would like to see more of everything. Uh,
the the cool thing with glaciers too, like I'm not sure which one you saw, but when you see it, you're like, wow, this is gigantic. And then when you look on a map at what part of it you saw, you're like, oh, I just saw like a teeny little like boop of it. And that's always kind of cool. Um, yeah, glaciers are pretty special.
I just put a link to one of your pictures from Paris in the YouTube chat because I think if you're just coming at this and you have not seen Erin's illustration work before, y your socks are gonna get knocked clean off. Erin is, I feel really lucky to have worked with Erin on this project and to just be involved in any way. She's like, genuinely one of my favorite illustrators and just doing some of the best work right now. And also someone who works very comfortably across lots of different media. Also, shameless plug for The Spy in the Museum. Um, How Rose Valland Saved Art from the Nazis. Incredible, incredible book. And you were also the author on that, correct?
I am. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for plugging my book baby.
I
Um,
picked that up day one.
and thank you for the kind words. Um, yeah, as you say, I'm a would you call me a war bro? No, not a war bro, but just that I feel like I've seen all of the like war dad movies.
You have the most
Um,
dad-tasted movies of anyone I've ever seen.
I watched Kingsman last night. It was okay.
2 stars I saw.
Yeah.
I like the
Um,
Kingsman movies, but I just like Ray Fiennes in anything.
yeah, he does kind of save anything, doesn't he? Um,
Tries his hardest.
yeah. So I'm, as you can see, I'm just kind of sketching this out. This is the watercolor pencil. There we go. And then using the water brush to kind of soften my lines a bit. I think this is for demo purposes. This is good. So I'm gonna grab my milky brush
So is
and
the watercolor pencil itself, is the lead water soluble? Is that what's, I haven't used these, so is that
yeah,
what's happening here?
yes, it is. I think I might do my Julia Child moment. Let me see if I can
Oh.
find.
Are you gonna pull a fully finished coq au vin out of the oven here?
Yeah, if I can find one, let me see. Um, yeah, this is a good example. So, this is a boat that I drew in Plymouth Harbor. So this would have been the watercolor pencil. Let's see, I think it might have been this lighter, kind of like burnt sienna one. So I did the entire sketch in that, but you can see all the places where when you go over it with water, it softens and you get the kind of the feeling of a watercolor, but without waiting for washes to dry. And then on something like this, I would have grabbed my sepia, where is it? Color brush, doot doot, this guy, and then gone ahead and hit all those shadow areas. And then I believe down here I put some water and I did a little like wet and wet. So maybe we can try that too.
That is
But
stunning. I
oh,
love
thank
just
you.
the feel of that. And I think like I tend to do a lot of digital for pro work, and that is not something you can recreate. Like and I think there's so much texture and um randomness happening there that like I don't know. I think as someone who stares at a lot of art, that's the good stuff for me. And like looking at your work with that and how you integrate that into your professional work too is um, that's the good stuff. I love seeing it.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like more and more people are returning to art supplies because uh, I don't want to talk about AI, people want the hand drawn like little bits of life in their art again. Like I don't know about you, but like I love when like a line doesn't quite meet up or there's like tiny little marks where you can like kind of see the voice of the artist come through.
I think
Um
people really just, yeah, I think it's that. Like they want to see something human. And
yes.
the one thing AI can't, I mean, AI makes mistakes all the time, but being human isn't adding like 12 fingers. Being human is all the little things that happen by chance, randomness. And, I'm a huge fan of like art as a tool for connection and empathy. And that's something that happens, you know, by seeing the person behind the art.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw like some gallery work recently and I forget what artist it was, but it was just like some really nice drawings and I remember just feeling like like a big sigh, like a good sigh of like, oh my God, I just love good drawings. Like, it was so satisfying to look at real art. And yeah, there's something like you said, like empathy and connection. I love seeing how other people see the world. And for travel sketching, that is, that's all part of it. Like, I take my students to this really cool park near me to go sketching, and I love seeing what they choose to draw from the park. One guy drew this like utility box with like had like a fire extinguisher and like like just kind of one of those weird like industrial kind of shapes. But it was his sketch was really cool, and he's like, yeah, I just thought it was interesting, and like I think that is something too where it is that like yeah, I just thought it was interesting. That's the kind of like you said the good stuff too. Um, I always want to
Landscape
draw.
sketching really forces you to observe too. And I think that when you're visiting somewhere new, and you pull out a sketchbook, you're not passively taking in your environment. You're really engaging with everything around you. And I find like if I draw on location, I remember that spot in a way I don't remember places that I just passed through. Like forcing yourself to sit, observe, reflect, and respond is one of the best ways to truly know a place.
Yeah. That's an excellent point. Like, how many times have you gone on a trip and taken a bunch of pictures and then never looked at them again?
Literally every time.
Versus, yeah, versus the time that you spend uh, drawing something, you're going to remember that moment. Um, I That's funny. I talk about that with my students too. I have them for as a homework assignment. And if you're listening out there, you can do this too. I have them draw their table after a meal, and they're all kind of like okay, but then they do it, and without fail, everyone's like, "Oh, I didn't realize like how interesting my own table was," and like especially if you're on vacation, draw your meal. Like um then you remember that, really good coffee you had or really bad coffee you had. Um just in a totally different way. You know what I mean? So I'm opening up a new Milky Brush, and you kind of gotta pump it
Do you
to get
show
it
the
going.
Milky Brush and how you pump it? Because I think a lot of people are. This is a very new mechanic I've seen
Oh,
in the Pentel stuff, and it's not always intuitive to people how it works and um, why we have it. Why
yeah.
Pentel has it that way.
Yeah, so like the ink cartridge is inside, and so you can kind of hear, I think in this one, you can kind of hear like a bead or something inside maybe, or Chris, you probably know the real mechanic of that. But yeah, you just kind of like charge it up, and you can see the ink start to flow into it there. And like you kind of got to pump it more than it's not just like a mechanical pencil where you pump it twice. You got to kind of charge it up. But then you can see as I put it down, the difference between this and other paint pens is there is a real brush tip at the end, which I love because it makes it feel like a real painting.
I would like to
So,
point out too, those are cow spots on the side.
oh,
Did
okay,
you?
that's fun.
Yeah, it comes from the Milky Pop pen line. So
Oh, okay. Wow. I always
that's
just thought
a
it
killer
was,
feature.
I'm not sure what I thought they were.
Did you think they were cheetah spots? Because those look a little different. To draw quickly.
I thought it was just kind of like confetti or yeah. So
Now, if you
I'm
want to see it, yeah.
yeah. Also while I'm drawing, I can yap for days. But if there are any questions, I'm happy to talk about whatever.
Any questions you have, throw them in the chat, and I will relay them if Erin doesn't see them. Anything you wanted to know about art, life, if you want some really hot cinema takes too, Erin is usually pretty good for that. Um, Speaking of, I'm going to ask you just a personal question. What movies do you think have the most beautiful landscapes? A lot of times I like to draw from movies, and if I can't think of anything to draw and I just want some paper time for myself, I'll put on something and find a good frame and just pause it and draw. What what are some movies you think are very visually stunning and inspiring, landscape wise?
Yeah. Um, I don't know why the first thing that popped in my head was The Revenant. Was that it? The
Yeah, that's Iñárritu and Emmanuel
mm-hmm.
Lubezki was the DP on that.
Yeah,
Stunning,
like
stunning work.
yeah, like natural light is super uh inspiring to me. Um I'm trying to think of what else I've seen
I mean, Lubezki
recent.
in general with like natural light is dude's knocking it out of the park.
Um and so Lubeski you said was the like the cinematographer, the
Yeah,
DP.
for Revenant,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe
Um
so. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat.
I'm gonna switch to the white Milky Brush. Um,
You do love a snowy scene too. I know you, this is something Erin has talked to me about, which I personally don't understand at all, is can you explain really quick how you draw uh, color in snow and ice? Because it blows my mind and I don't understand it.
yeah. So where to start?
I
So
know it's a big
color,
question.
color theory.
Explain
I
to me
love,
all of color theory very
yeah.
quickly.
I love color theory, and basically, the thing that I try to get students to understand at first is light has color. So sunlight is warm, but the light that reflects off of the sky and bounces back into the shadows of things is cool. So you tend to get a lot of really interesting, warm tones and cool tones in snow. And I noticed this especially. I lived in Montreal, Canada for a few years. And, I grew up in Florida, so I was not used to seeing snow. And, then you have to live with it for 4 or 5 months out of the year. Um, and I was taking pictures of snow everywhere I went because it was so colorful and interesting. Like the shadows were almost this like electric blue. And then at night, like the neon lights on the snow would be so colorful. Another concept from color theory is that the shadow is often the complement of the light color. So, for instance, a blue shadow is usually the result of a yellowish orangey light is going to have a blue shadow.
Why
And so
is
that
that?
one makes, pardon?
Why is that?
Okay.
Sorry. Explain light.
So the reason for that is because say a yellowy orangey light is shining on something, it is not obviously it is not shining in the shadows. Therefore, by comparison, the shadows will feel cooler and the opposite of everything around it because they are not receiving that color. I have a whole
Fantastic.
color theory deck if you
No,
want me to.
that actually makes sense in a
Yeah.
way that I think a lot of color theory doesn't make sense to me. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. But so I remember passing by, it was like a yellow, it was a purple, like neon sign. And the opposite on the color wheel of purple is yellow. And the shadows were like yellow and green, like on the
That's
snow.
wild.
It's wild. Yeah. There's also anyone who has lived somewhere snowy, especially in a city, will know that feeling. You know how you can at night the sky turns orange because of the street lights reflecting off of the like precipitation in the sky before it snows. Um, I just kind of felt like I had a much different appreciation for color. Um, when I was up in Montreal, I taught a digital painting class and we talked a lot about color theory. And they were like, "Did you bring more pictures of snow to show us?" I was like, "Yes," because it's a really just a really good way to learn about color. Um, so for sketching purposes, I think I'm going to stop here on this one and start a new one. What do you think?
Could I ask you a
Yeah.
couple questions about what you're working on?
Hmm.
I noticed the lighthouse is basically halfway between a cylinder and a cone here.
Yeah.
Um, it seems like you have some very distinct value regions kind of banding around. What are those? You have the light coming in from the right side, but could you break down a little bit more?
about
how
how I
you're, yeah, what are those value regions and like how are they kind of interacting in this shape?
yeah. So on my reference over here, and I think everyone can still see my reference, right? Yes. Um, so the reason I picked this picture was because I knew I was going to be doing it on this toned paper. And so we talked about value before, how with toned paper, you get to paint the light. Um, so a very tricky thing in correctly drawing values is not making your shadows too light or your light on a dark color too dark. Did I say that right? Anyway,
Seemed
uh,
right.
yeah. So white has a lighter shadow, as you can see, but it's not going to be lighter than this black band in the dark. And in fact, I think I might. I'm going back to the watercolor pencil now. Can I? Let's see.
This is like those things where they those brain teasers where they'll put two colors next to each other and like it's the same color and it looks different because the way the context and the surrounding colors affect it.
Yep, that is called color constancy,
What?
or relative color. And that is one of the when I teach color theory, that is one of my favorite things to talk about because it is yeah, you see color relative to what is around it. Um, and so a part of the reason that I think this blue works so well on this paper is that it makes all these shadows feel warmer. Um, but let's see, color constancy or color relativity. Um, was I talking to you about Joseph Albers? We were
Yeah,
talking
we've
about
talked about
Albers.
Albers before. I'm a fan of
Yeah.
Albers. You know, if I could do what
um,
he did, I would.
so I've been reading more about Joseph Albers to research my next book, and he said color is slippery. I love that. That is exactly how I feel about color. Um, like so much of color is just how it talks to each other. You can really accomplish a lot of quote unquote like color theory with a very limited palette. Um, but I love that color is slippery, and it really
Speaking of
is.
that, as far as your landscape kit goes, what are the color selections in there, and like why did you choose those? Because I know you have kind of a baby blue milky brush. You have the white, which
Mhm.
totally understandable, but you also included a sepia color brush and a set of watercolor pencils. So like, why those choices?
I think, especially when you're drawing on location, having a limited palette will help you. Um, I, I mean, I love all the Milky brushes. I have the purple one here, but uh, just to kind of keep the kit very focused and efficient, my thinking was, yep, yeah. My thinking was that these are tools that would work together, especially for landscape painting, because how, more often than not, we are drawing a blue sky with clouds. And that looks really nice against something like a sepia for the color brush. And I believe I also had the gray color brush in there too, which I really like. Um,
You do,
yeah.
which is maybe like that was a game changer for me to find that and how well it works with the aquash to just create a really beautiful, subtle value range.
Yeah, actually, um, so I'm always of the mindset that there are two types of demos. There's ones where you learn a lot, and there's ones where you get a nice result. And I'm aiming for both, but that's
So
why I
far,
have
nailing
my
it.
pardon.
So far, you're nailing it.
Oh, thanks. So here's another, and I think this is actually on the box, right? This was a drawing I did of Ansi. in France. Yeah, so wow, there's the real drawing. So this is all the gray color brush and the black one, I think. I think that's all it is. And then maybe some point liner in there. And I guess you can see. So Annecy is this super cute like alpine town in France. So I think I'm going to switch over to this is a mixed media sketchbook. So it's kind of like watercolor paper. Um, oh, here's a little tip before you start for new folks. If you tend to run off the corner of your page, I always like to draw like, I guess this is half an inch. I like to draw a little half-inch border. It forces you to think of your page as it like activates the picture space that you have. Um, did you learn to do this in school, or was that just a Ringling thing?
I what I learned was to always draw your crop. Always draw your frame
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people don't consider edges as part of the composition.
yeah,
And they are literally, I would say, the second most important part of the composition is your crop. So,
yeah,
yeah, you have to consider your crop, and it's not just the page. That's so arbitrary, you know.
yeah.
And this is I'm not the one doing the magic here, but if I'm doing drawing on location, a lot of times what I'll do is I will draw a frame that is not the shape of the paper because that forces you to consider your composition
Ooh, I
not
like
just
that.
arbitrarily, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I have let me see if I have any examples. I have my students, sometimes I'll make them draw a bunch of different shaped boxes and like fill it up with different shaped things. But I
Absolutely.
like, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so I have, I'll do this little mountain guy here. And so, like I said, I'm clearly not a photographer. This is, you know what? I'm gonna go like this. Comme ça. Um, and so let's see, I think for this I'll use a watercolor pencil and I want to play with the color brushes because they're really fun. Um, but so rather than you could also sketch this with a mechanical pencil, but I just like playing with these watercolor pencils. So let's see. So I have my mountain here. Um, the first thing I do, I think a lot of students, when they sit down to draw, they get a little overwhelmed by all the detail that they see. And so I like to look at like the big shape of things first. And as I look at this reference, this shadow in the middle here kind of almost cuts the picture in half. And I know that my little house here is like on this side. This kind of like gives me like a nice little what's the word, unit of measurement too, that if I wanted to I could measure that, like, oh, my mountain here is 10 baby houses wide. um
Scale reference.
yes, yeah, that's the word. um but I'm just gonna kind of go quick on that. How about you, Chris? What are some movies with inspiring landscapes?
Well, the one you just pulled up, really it reminds me, it's not I don't think it's a good movie, but have you seen the movie Lamb?
I have not.
It's an A24 movie that probably could have been a text, but it was shot in the farms in Iceland,
Oh,
and
cool.
it literally looks like your reference photo here. Uh, I'm gonna go Lubeski also and say Tree of Life by Malik is probably one of the most stunningly beautiful movies ever made. Tarkovsky's Mirror. I mean, I can't not talk about that movie because the opening scenes of the farm in Russia with like the field blowing, and I guess he had a helicopter fly over the field, so it looked like the grass was blowing in the wind. It's stunning. So
Oh, I just remembered. You've
the
never
Twilight
seen Sound
Saga.
of Music,
What is this?
right?
I've heard that before. Is that it was referenced in a Vin Diesel movie called The Pacifier. So I feel like I have seen it. Oh, we're talking about beautiful landscapes. Let's talk about Fast X, the 10th movie in the Fast and the Furious franchise, which not only travels the world, but it goes to space. So, which they film live in space, I believe. I would have to consult Wikipedia, but Ludacris flew to space in a car.
My son has been on a bit of a movie kick, and he saw one of the Airbud movies come up on Disney Plus, and I'm like, you can watch it if you want.
I'm gonna get in so much trouble if there's one more live Pentel live stream that's primarily focused on Airbud. Um, but yeah, if there wasn't so much controversy around snow buddies, that would be like very high up on my beautiful movies list. But it's controversial, so which for reasons we won't get into. Um, but yeah,
It's funny for a while you mentioned Iceland. For a while, I felt like every single sci-fi movie was shot in Iceland, like Prometheus. What was it?
Interstellar.
Rogue. Yes, I think. What was the other one? Rogue One. Um, the Northmen. Obviously, I mean, part of it takes place in Iceland. But to the point where I'm like, I was like, oh, I've been to that beach. Because some of the features there are very distinct and iconic. Um, Game of Thrones, I think,
Oh,
was
sure,
there.
sure.
Yeah.
The
Um,
North.
so now that I've blocked this in, you can see I'm kind of blocking in my shadow shapes.
And
Um,
you're using a the watercolor pencil right now.
yes, yeah.
What color may I ask? Is that
I
black?
think this is just black. Yeah, because
Okay.
my plan is to keep this grayscale. So I have my aquash and I'm going to kind of just block out. So you can see, since I've blocked out my shadows, I'm just kind of blocking them out again, but with water. And shadow shapes reveal form. And so you can, and the viewer reads shapes. And so you can, by just like copying the shapes that you see, you can get a lot of, um, you can convey a lot of form and a lot of information by just drawing the shadow shapes.
This is blowing my mind right now. I've never used the watercolor brushes or the watercolor
Oh,
pencils, and I didn't know you could just knock them out, like get results this quickly. Um, Shout out to Robert Hunt and Value Edges right now because you're doing some beautiful things with defining edges with value here.
what was it that Robert always said? A painting is drawing value edges, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like this. That's one of those like pieces of advice where you can hear it and be like, okay, that sounds nice, and then spend the rest of your life thinking about it.
you're all
Um,
getting like an $80,000 art school education in 1 hour because that's basically what I learned.
but it's true. First, the drawing has to be good. The values have to be good, and by value, he means color because value is more important than color.
Yeah,
And
I would
then,
agree with that. I don't think color is important at all. Color is like totally overrated in art.
well, I do think value is more important than color. Um,
No, color is cool and warm.
ha,
Ah, This is why we're charging the big bucks for this live stream.
I just like talking about this stuff.
It's wild that you could also I will say Aaron and I are there are two kinds of illustrators when it comes to this, like having conversation. There are those who cannot talk and draw. They need perfect concentration and silence. And there are those who love having that conversation happening because it just leaves the other part of their brain to do their thing. Um, Aaron and I are definitely in that latter camp where it's like having good conversation really helps the drawings flow. So
Yeah, that was why I wanted a co-host on this because otherwise, whenever I have taught online before or done workshops like this, um, I always feel like I'm doing stand-up comedy to a brick wall. And I like to kind of think like you kind of think as you draw, and being able to kind of like think out loud with another artist is always really helpful.
yeah, I spiraled and just talked about Airbud for like 2 hours when I did this. So, which I'm not saying that wasn't a good live stream. You know, I think we all learned a lot, but especially about Santa Paws. But in terms of art, I think this is far more useful.
One of my brothers-in-law, I think, is or I should say was, he's like in his 30s now, but as a young man, was a fan of Airbud.
People are always like, "Oh, do you watch it with your kids?" I'm like, "No, my kids don't even like Airbud." If you were to integrate color into this. Right now it's monochrome. You're kind of blocking out your large shadow shapes. What would be the process for like putting a little bit of color into this?
That's a really good question. I would have started with color from the beginning.
Okay.
Um, because if you layer color on top of black, sometimes it can get muddy. Um,
Any colors?
but you know what? I am not afraid to make a fool of myself and give it a try. So I'm going to add in a little bit of green. I guess probably the thing I would do is I would pick either the lights or the darks, and I would look and see like where I'm seeing the most color. Probably in color kind of likes to live in the midtones, but let's see. For
Ooh,
what I've
that's a good
done,
quote.
or color is in the turning of
Ooh,
form.
sounds like a
Yeah,
ghost story.
yeah, color is in the turning. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't if I were to add color to this, I would have started with color. Um, but let's see, taking a look. Like I said, I'm not afraid to mess this up. So if it gets muddy, we can blame Chris. So
That's usually the case.
I'm gonna take my green and kind of anywhere that I'm seeing like very saturated green.
Where is
I'm,
there green in your photo, if I can ask?
uh, down here,
Okay.
that's the most saturated green to me.
Okay.
Um, Whereas like the foreground gets a little more like yellowy, um, kind of more washed out. I'm seeing the most saturation in these kind of like low hills. Um, and I could even, so I could take, I'm going to tell you one of the things I like the most about landscape sketching is you can, if no one sees your reference, you can kind of make up whatever you want. So if I wanted this to be a
Art.
red, pardon?
Isn't that all art in general? Like,
But so I think, like, for example, figure drawing is not super forgiving. You can't, like, we all know what the human body looks like so well that you kind of got to get it right. Um, whereas landscape painting, if I put a red roof on this instead, no one's going to
Budget.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Power move.
so in that sense, I do think landscape painting can be a little bit more forgiving.
Good. That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna add a little bit. I like the sky is pretty like gray in this, so I think I'm gonna keep it kind of gray.
Erin,
Um,
art question.
yeah.
Who would you say are the greatest landscape artists?
I really like the Hudson River School, so that's like Bierstadt, Thomas Moran, Frederick Church. I think is really underrated.
Super
Um,
underrated.
yeah.
Legend.
Um, I did not know about the Group of Seven until I found a book about them when I worked in a library. But the Group of Seven is a group of Canadian painters who set out to kind of like decide what uh, like Canadian art was going to be in like the 1920s, or maybe even a little earlier. If you have never heard of the Group of Seven, look them up. They are super interesting. And their work feels really modern and exciting. Um, let's see, who else? Rosa Bonheur. I don't really think of her as maybe she's more of like a wildlife artist, but her animals like no one I still think she's one of the best as far as like uh animal art is goes. Um, let's see. Oh, who's the we've talked about him before. Is it Diebenkorn? Who's the guy who lives out in San Francisco who does those like
Stephen
really abstract
Korn.
yeah.
Yeah, that was Stephen Korn.
Yeah, really
Little high
abstract.
school grad.
Yeah.
You know what? Wayne Thiebaud did some pretty righteous uh like expressionist city drawings too that get zero love. And that could be confused with Corns. I will say. Corn though was a beast. And if you're from San Francisco, a lot of the things that are marketed as being abstract are not abstract at all. They're actually streets on Potrero Hill.
Yeah. Trying to think who else for landscapes. I'm actually teaching a landscape sketching class right now, and tonight I will be doing my history of landscape drawing and painting with them. I like Lipking. I think he does some pretty incredible stuff. Right now, probably one of my favorite living painters is Jeremy Miranda. Um, I feel like I've become just like a Jeremy Miranda like fan account because I share every single painting he does. But his work is like really simple shapes, but I don't know, his stuff is really cool. Um, how about you?
Oh God. I mean, I'll echo everyone you said. It might be a little cornball,
Thomas
but
Kincaid.
Mark Maggiore is like I I think his stuff is just epic. And you know, Western art isn't always for me, but like I love big, juicy clouds. I'm gonna go a little bit of a different route and say some photographers. Hiroshi Sugimoto has my favorite landscapes of all, which are not landscapes but seascapes. His seascape series, I think, is the most beautiful environment photography. I mean, I'm a California kid. Ansel Adams, again, like probably obvious, but if you haven't been to Yosemite, like your head will just explode. Have you been there?
I have not.
What are you doing with your life? Get out there. Maybe it's the California bias in me, but I will say Yosemite is the greatest national park in this country, and our national park system. is the best thing about America, and there are a lot of good things. Um, Pentel of America being close number two, but our national park system is just incredible, and we're really lucky to have it. But oh gosh, who else? Uh, yeah,
Who's the guy, New Englander, did all the like boats? Winslow Homer.
Winslow
Like,
Homer.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Winslow Homer is a total beast as well. Are we going city here or
sure.
just landscape? And we're going urban sketching. I'm gonna throw Hopper in the mix.
Yeah.
His cities, like I know there's like two or three of his pieces get all the love, but if you just look at his city paintings, like his street paintings, I think they're special.
Or even just like his like he did I you'll see it sometimes too, like the talk about color theory. Um the way he captures like light on just like boring suburban houses, where it's like both banal and sublime at the same time.
Oh
Um,
my God, yeah.
oh, and Andrew Wyeth.
Andrew
Yeah.
Wyeth,
I'm like, I
when
know
you
I'm
really
forgetting.
want a cow in the mix. When we went to the Brandywine Museum, the Andrew Wyeth, his gouache stuff and
Oh,
his
those like
watercolor stuff.
abstracts he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he did one with like a tree in monochrome, and it was honestly my favorite piece in the whole museum.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna give a quick shout out to my fellow poster artists too. The 59 Parks series that was put together some years back. That was a lot of movie poster, rock poster artists doing interpretations of the American National Parks series is one of my favorite series ever. And have you seen these?
Maybe.
It's
Are you
so
thinking
cool.
of a of an artist in particular,
Like
or
literally
just
everyone involved is really good. But like I think like Roy Kurtz did a really cool one. Dan McCarthy did some cool ones. Um, I think Matthew Woodson did some, I think. I mean, it's like a lot of the Mondo people, if you guys know Mondo artists, were part of the series. It's like they curated it from the same pool. And it's I love movie posters, and this feels like like stunning um synergy between those two.
so since you mentioned color, I'm trying to add color. And can you see how it is a little could be better? But
I'm on a delay, so yeah, but
oh, okay.
I can't really see. But you know what could look cool there is taking the white and punching out some value
With the Milky Brush?
in the sky. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
the
here.
Milky Brush. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you. You're a better artist than me. It
whatever.
looks dope. I like it.
If you have not seen Chris's work, is it chriskaler.com?
No one's gonna spell that right, but thank you. Uh, Claire Hummel. Do you know her work?
Oh God, she's incredible. Yeah.
Claire Hummel's landscape stuff is freaking crazy.
I
Yeah,
always bring her work up. I teach a concept art class, and yeah, she's killer.
she does it all.
Yeah. Oh, Laura Bufano. She is a also a kind of concept art storyboarder, but her landscapes are so cool. She was part of my artist residency group, and she does just the way she stylizes her landscapes are is really cool. Um, so yeah, you're saying.
Aaron, we I think we're about to close up here. We've been
Oh,
going
okay.
on longer than you would know.
I
Uh,
know.
Before we finish, does anyone have any questions they want to ask. I'm going to ask one question before we get, if anyone wants to chime in, please chime in, but we're on a delay, so that'll come in. At this point, I feel like you have you have all the major shadow shapes blocked in, you have some color in there. What is that last step you would take to take this from something maybe a little more loose to something more resolved? Because your finished work really shadows that line well.
Um, so we talked about edges, um, and on something like this, my edges are kind of all over the place. But the more that you dig into these like smaller shapes within the shape, um, and I'll just say this piece is me being very brave by showing you how easily a piece can go off the rails. But starting with my kind of big shapes, the more you kind of go into edges and pick out those smaller shapes and smaller moments, that's where something I think starts to come into focus and feel more finished. Um, and like kind of stepping back and squinting, and making sure that the values read. Like you were saying, like, oh, probably hitting it with white might help some of the stuff in here. This one, like I said, if I knew I was going to be doing it in color, I would have started with color kind of from the beginning. But with this approach, definitely like the tiny little details. I think you if you treat it like the icing on the cake, that's where it uh, that's when it starts to come together. Like save those details for last, and then bing,
Yeah,
yeah,
the last 10% is 90%. Um,
yes,
I still think that's looking really good.
thank
Um,
you.
so again, for everyone here, we're Erin is doing everything with the Landscape Pro Kit. And you can get these at the Pentel's website. I believe it's just pentel.com. You could also, I would also encourage anyone to like support your local art store. Your independent art store is going to have these, and if they don't, tell them to stock them. So wherever you are, I would say, yeah, Pentel.com, independent art stores. Shout out to all the amazing independent art stores that are carrying these. It's amazing to see. I was just in Anchorage, Alaska a couple days ago, and shout out to Blaine's up there. I walked in and they had these right there, and it was so cool seeing your work in Alaska, Erin. So. Uh, Also, please join us on the Creator Collective. That will be pentel.com/CC, the two letters CC. That's like just an awesome place for artists to post work, to talk shop, to find a community for the kind of work they do. I'm very active there. Erin is active there. You'll find there's incredible artists who are sharing work all the time. Um, so Erin, any last words for the folks out there? You're going to be streaming Minecraft later, correct? No, I'm just kidding.
Just thank you so much to Pentel. They really are just awesome to work with, awesome to artists, and like I can't say enough good things. This has been so cool and so fun. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the kit. And if anyone does pick it up and do some sketches, please send them to me so I can see them. Um, and yeah, I hope to see you on the Creative Collective or around the world.
Uh, Once again, just definitely check out pentel.com, pentelarts.com. Go to Erin's website. That is going to be emmcguire.net. Is that the right one? Or
You can just go to erinmcguire.com, works too.
erinmcguire.com. Follow Pentel on Instagram. Follow Erin on Instagram. It's just a wealth of amazing art and y- you want to see like her sketches are and her like sketchbook work is just mind blowing to me, and she uses tools in the most interesting ways. So um, thank you so much for leading this, and it's just been an absolute pleasure hanging out and watching you work. I feel like I'm just a fly on the wall to one of my favorite artists and their process. So
Yay. Well,
and
and
thank
thank you
you.
for joining me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here, and we'll see you on the collective.
Bye.
Bye.